Hey guys, welcome back. So what we're going to be looking at today are lessons 3 and 4. So lesson 4, or sorry, not 3 and 4, 4 and 5. So lesson 4 is dot plots. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So 25 sixth grade students answered the question, how many hours do you generally spend on homework each week? Why is this question a statistical question? Well, is everybody going to spend the exact same amount of time on their homework? No, the chances of that happening are pretty slim. So it is statistical because there's variability in the data. Not everybody is going to be spending the exact same amount of time. Plus, we have to collect this data. We don't know how long everybody spent working on homework. So it's also got data collection. All right, this dot plot shows the number of hours per week that these 25 students reported spending on homework. Use the dot plot to answer the following questions. For each, show or explain your reasoning. What percentage of the students reported spending 1 hour on homework each week? So if we look, how many students are there for 1 hour? Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 out of 25, or 1/5, which would be 20%. So 20% of the students said they spent an hour working on homework each week. What percentage of the students reported, what percentage of the students reported spending 4 or fewer hours on homework each week? Well, if we look, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if we take 25 minus 9, we get 16. So we have 16 out of 25. If we find what that is as a decimal, divide it out, we'd find that it's 64%, because this equals 0.64. So 64% of them spent 4 hours or fewer on their homework each week. All right. For 3, would 6 hours per week be a good description of the number of hours this group of students spends on homework per week? What about 1 hour per week? Explain. So if we look at this, do a lot of students spend 6 hours on homework? No, not really. I mean, there's 3 people who spend 6 hours. There's a few who spend more, but most of them are spending less than that. So 6 would not be a very good amount of, 6 would not be good. It's nowhere close. 6 is not good. Most spent less. Now, 1 hour, well, 1 hour wasn't the most, well, 1 hour was the most, but there were a lot of people who spent 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours as well. So as a result, one wouldn't really be that great of a description of the number of values. It'd be somewhere in between 1 and 6. So for 4, what value do you think would be a good description of the homework time of the students in this group? So somewhere around 3 to 4 hours would probably be the best description, simply because if we look, 3 to 4 is kind of the average between this portion here, where most of the data is. These guys out here are kind of outliers because they're way away from everything else and there aren't as many. So someone said, in general, these students spend roughly the same number of hours doing homework. Do you agree? Do we agree on this? No, definitely not. We should not agree with that. They do not spend the same number of hours on homework each week. So we should disagree because the data spreads out from 0 to 9 hours. There's a student who does not do homework at all, and there are several spending 8 to 9 hours per week. So there's a wide spread. So wide spread of data, 0 to 9. So we have to be careful with those wide spreads of data. The wider they are, the less similar the representation is. We can't say that they spend roughly the same amount of time. All right, so now we are going to jump into lesson 5. So lesson 5 is more with our dot plots. So dot plot is your key word for this lesson, dot plot. So on the phone, 25 sixth grade students were asked to estimate how many hours a week they spend talking on the phone. This dot plot represents their reported number of hours of phone usage per week. How many of the students reported not talking on the phone during the week? Well, we've got a lot of zeros here. If we count these all up, we're going to find that that's 10 students didn't talk on the phone at all per week. Now, for B, what percentage of the students reported? So what percent is that? So there's 25 sixth grade students, so 10 out of 25, which is going to be 40%. What is the largest number of hours a student spent talking on the phone per week? Well, the largest reported is 3 hours. What percentage of the group reported talking on the phone for this amount of time? Well, that'd be 3 out of 25, which is 12%. We divide that and get 0.12. It's 12%. All right, for 3, how many hours would you say that these students typically spend talking on the phone? So if we look at this, typically they spend about 1 hour. Between 0 and 1 is the highest values. There aren't very many for 2 and 3, so about 1 hour. How many minutes per day would that be? Well, 1 hour on the phone per week. So we'd take 60 and divide it by 7, which is approximately 9 minutes. So about 9 minutes a day. For 4, how would you describe the spread of the data? Would you consider the student's amount of time on the phone to be alike or different? So the spread is pretty small. We're just going from 0 to 3. So small spread, 0 to 3. So they're very alike in their amounts of time. All right, so here's a dot plot from an earlier activity. It shows the number of hours per week the same group of 25 sixth grade students reported spending on homework. Overall, are the students more alike in the amount of time they spend talking on the phone or the time spent on their homework? So that'd be time spent on the phone. It's a much closer together spread with less variability. All right, and last, number 5. Suppose someone claimed that these sixth grade students spend too much time on the phone. Do you agree? Use your analysis of the dot plot to support your answer. So on average, we're saying that they spend about 9 minutes a day for if they're on the phone for an hour. So 9 minutes isn't really a huge amount of time. So I'd say disagree. 9 minutes a day isn't much. So looking at this, we can analyze these dot plots and find different answers to our solutions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a wonderful day.